Morning, friends. Absolutely delighted to be here. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share a few of my thoughts. I did put together a couple of slides late last night. I said, let me sort of at least frame my thoughts up in terms of what I'm going to be saying today or sharing my views here. So I'd actually called it the challenges of change because that's what I was told that, I need to speak on. When I came this morning, actually I changed this just during the transit from that room to this one because what struck me most was this business of, having fun at work. And also when I really saw the physically challenged children, singing the national anthem with so much passion and commitment and actually having fun, I said in future, whenever I'm going to be talking about challenges of change, and I've done this a little, quite a few times before, I think I would now start to call it, fun of change rather than challenges of change. So having said that, I think very clearly we are in the midst of a global transformation. I don't know when it's going to end because I've been saying this for a couple of years now. But having said that, the good part is that, it's still transforming, so that's the good news. I've used this slide for several quarters now. I think, if you see, I do believe that this is the true transformation, yeah? Yeah, now you can actually see the counseling services being, the mobility is all about here, I guess. This is how our washing lines look like, and the other day I'd gone to, my wife said, why don't you go to the dry cleaner and pick up some clothes, and I went, the dry cleaning office looked like this. Yeah? So very clearly, I think it's a true transformation in some sense. But I do believe that the change will be constant. I'm sure all of us believe. It's all going to be about competing for the future. It's going to be entities that yesterday could not be imagined and that the day after will be obsolete. Very clearly, we are experiencing it. There's no rocket science about all of this, but I think it's better to sort of keep that in perspective. If we start to think that there's going to be an end game to change, I think, we'll probably be kidding ourselves. This is a book that I read several years ago, and this is something that struck me then. I think this was like 10 years back I read this book, which had this thing called The Future. This was really about the future, and I really like the presentation there, and I've started to sort of relate to this. It says fast. Therefore, fast. We're talking about speed will be the key. I remember in the BPO industry 10 years back when I moved into the industry, I used to go to the client and say that, you start working with us, your business case will start looking good 5, 6, 7 quarters later. I also said this is all about, huge transformational change, and therefore there will be an increase in your pain as you start working with us. But I promise you your pain will come down several quarters later. And I used to sell. Clients used to buy me. Yeah? And I've tried doing this after the global financial crisis, and I tell a client, you start looking good a couple of quarters later. He says, we'll talk a couple of quarters later, and he never turns around. Yeah. So that's a big change that I have seen in the post-global financial crisis. And when I tell them about, you'll go through a little more pain, but your pain will come down. He says, Swami, give me a break. Don't talk. I thought you were talking to me about taking my pain away, and you are saying that, you're going to add to my pain and then you will take it away. So he never talks to me ever again. Yeah. Urban. And each of these, I think, has an immense influence. As I sit down every day, as I sit down with my teams, I find each of these impacting my business. Whether it's mega cities, it is costs, it's natural resources, it's crime, it's transport. A lot of us in the BPO industry, sometimes I'm telling my colleagues in the office, are we running a BPO business or are we in the municipal transport business? I don't know what. Customs and culture conflict, terrorism, racial separation. A lot of time when I talk to my clients, it's all about, Swami, tell me what's your solution on business continuity. Yeah, I'm sure all of you are living through it. Universal, we're obviously talking about globalization and flatword, which is really the platform of this industry. Radical, unable to deliver promises. How many of us continue to lose clients?